Hi everyone, this is Professor Oaks, and in this video I'm going to talk about proportions. Alright, so what are proportions? Well, proportions are just equations in which two ratios are set equal to each other. So usually in general terms you would see something like an A over B equals C over D. So here is one ratio, here is another ratio. All right, so now in order to solve this proportion here for the missing value of x, all we need to do is something called cross multiplying. Now, people sort of sometimes get this confused with cross canceling. All right, so there's a difference between what's called cross multiplying and cross canceling. All right, so let's say that I look at this proportion here and I see that this is 9 over 18, right, as what I have on the left side of the proportion, or the ratio on the left side of the equal sign, and I see that 9 is 9 times 1 and 18 is 9 times 2, and then I cancel out or divide out the 9s. That's called cross canceling. Alright, cross multiplying works like this. I take the 9 over 18 equals 8 over x, and I multiply the 9 and the x together, and the 8 and the 18 together, and then I simplify each side of the equation. So 9 times x, I cannot multiply any other things together there, all right, because I have a constant times an x, but I can't multiply the 8 and the 18 together because these are both constants. So 8 times 18 is going to be, all right, so what is that going to be here? Well, that's 144. And then I have 9x equals 144. So we've solved basic equations before, so we just divide by 9. So x is 144 over 9, which is equal to 16. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what if I actually just did 9 over 18 equals 8 over x, and I realized that 9 over 18 was 1 over 2, and then I cross multiplied? Well, then I get 1x equals 8 times 2, or just x is 16, and that was much quicker. All right, so if you can reduce the ratio first before you cross multiply, sometimes that does, of course, is the better thing to do. All right, so let's look at the next proportion to solve. So y over 5 equals 26 over 10. So I am going to look to see if either of the ratios can be simplified first, and I see that 26 over 10 has a greatest common factor of, let's see, well, that would be 2, so I can divide by 2 in the numerator and denominator to get y over 5 is 13 over 5. And then I can cross multiply. So remember, my first step was to reduce 26 over 10, and then I'm going to cross multiply. All right, so cross multiply, and if I cross multiply, I have 5 times y equals 5 times 13, and then I just multiply 5 times 13 together. And what do I have? I have well, what would that be? That would be 65. And then I divide by 5 on each side, and I get y is equal to 13. Now, some of you may have even seen that if I have 5y is equal to 5 times 13, and then I divide by 5 on each side, I can actually divide out the 5 without actually multiplying the 5 and the 13 together, and that would make this even quicker for me. So just remember, there are lots of different ways that somebody might look at one of these problems. All right, so now let's try another one here. Let's solve z over 13 is equal to 14 over 2. So again, one way to solve this would be z over 13 is 14 over 2. I'll go ahead and I'll cross multiply. So 2 times z is 13 times 14. So what would that be? Well, that is 2z is equal to 182. Then I'll divide by 2 on each side, and that gives me z is equal to 91. Well, all right, here is another way to do this. Z over 13 is 14 over 2, so I'll divide by 2 and 2 here. So I have z over 13 is 7 over 1. So 1z, or just z, is equal to 7 times 13. All right, so 7 times 13 is going to be 91. So again, there's more than one way to do each of these problems. Let's try another one here. We have 16 over y is equal to 18 over 9. So I'll divide out the greatest common factor in the 18 over 9. So that would be 9. So I have 16 over y is equal to 2 over 1. Then I will cross multiply. So, well, it could be 16 times 1 or equals 2 times y. So 2 times y is 16 times 1. So 2 times y is 16. And then I will divide by 2 on each side. So y is equal to 8. What a time to be alive, right? So now let's go on to the next one. And it says, which of the following proportions is true? So now we are given 4 choices. Well, how would you tell if a proportion is true? Well, one of the ways would be to just do the cross multiplying and see what happens. So for the first one, I have 7 times 5. Does that equal 4 times 14? Well, 7 times 5 is 35. And 4 times 14, that's 64. So that one is false. The second one, I have 17 times 9. Does that equal 12 times 6? Well, 17 times 9, well, that is going to be, well, what is that? That is going to be 153. And 12 times 6, that's going to be 72. So that is false. And then, well, let me move this paper up here for a moment so that you can see this a little bit better. So for this next one, I have 24 times 15. Does that equal 16 times 18? Well, 24 times 15 is going to be 360, and 16 times 18 is going to be 288. So that is false. All right, so now I'm hoping that the last one is going to be correct, and what I see here is that 96 times 15, does that equal, all right, 36 times 40, so does that equal 36 times 40? Well, 96 times 15 is 1,440, and 36 times 40 is 1,440, so that is true. So this is the proportion that's true. What a time to be alive. All right, so here is another wonderful example. So let's solve this proportion here. All right, so now what are you going to do here? Well, let's cross multiply. So 57x will be equal to 19 times 45. So 19 times 45 is going to be, what is that going to be? That's going to be 855, and then I will divide by 57 on each side. So that will give me x is equal to 15. What a time to be alive. All right, so now the next question asks which of the proportions is false. So we'll do that just like how we tried to show which of the proportions was true in the example that we had earlier. So let's go ahead and just multiply here, cross multiply here. The 26 times 384, does that equal 96 times 104? Well, 26 times 384 is 9,984, and 96 times 104 is 9,984, so that one is true. All right, so let's try another one. So the next one we have 7 times 15. Does that equal 6 times 49? Well, 7 times 15 is 105, and 6 times 49 is 294, and that one was false. So this is the one that's false. What a time to be alive. I don't even have to try the other one since the question just asked me to show which one is false. All right, here is a little bit more of a complicated one because instead of just an x that we have in the numerator here, it's 3x. All right, so let's go ahead and let's cross multiply just like before. So 3x times 36, does that equal 4 times 162? Well, 3x times 36, that's going to give us 108x, and then 4 times 162, that's going to be 648, and then I'll divide by 108 on each side. So if I do that, I have x is equal to 6. What a time to be alive. All right, so now let's try another one. This will be very similar. All right, I have 11 over 66. Does that well, does that equal 3 over 36x? Or what x value would be missing here? Well, let's cross multiply just like before. So 11 times 36x, that will equal 3 times 66. So 11 times 36x is 396x, and 3 times 66 is 198. And then I'll just divide by, well, let's see, I'll divide by 396 on each side. So what does that give me? Well, x will be 198 over 396, or 198 goes into these numerator and denominators, well, one time because that's the greatest common factor. So I'm left with 1 over 2. So it does not look like the correct answer is here. So that's a bunch of garbage, but the correct answer is 1 over 2. All right, so what a time to be alive, right? So let's try another one here. So here we go. Let's solve this proportion here. So let's cross multiply. We have 33 times 8. All right, let's see. That's equal to 11x times 12. So 33 times 8, that's going to be 264. And 11x times 12, that's going to be 132x. Then let's divide by 132 on each side. So when we do that, the greatest common factor here is 132, so I can divide by 132 in the numerator and denominator to get 2 over 1, or just that x is equal to 2. What a time to be alive. So that's all that I have for you today on proportion. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today and that you're already looking forward to the next one. Thank you and have a great day.